Hi there, and welcome to the Speaking Your Brand podcast. I'm your host, Carol Cox, joined today by our lead speaking coach, Diane Diaz. Hi, Diane. How's it going?
Hello, Carol. It's going well.
Okay, well, we have been getting a lot of questions from clients, and we've been talking to prospective clients on our Zoom consultation calls. And the questions kind of are landing in similar buckets. And so we thought we would do a podcast episode to address them because there are questions that you, as a listener, probably have as well, especially if you are searching for things online related to public speaking. Maybe that's how you found our podcast. Maybe you are seeing things on Instagram because you're liking certain things, and the algorithm, of course, is going to continue to feed things along the lines of what you've been searching for or what you've been engaging with. And because you've been doing that, you may start seeing a lot of online advertising, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, even Google Ads, that are promising you big results. You too can make thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in speaking. You too can land on a TEDx stage, and we guarantee it. You too can be a motivational speaker. And so all of these big promises. And trust me, I know it's appealing. These advertisers, and they're using AI. They know exactly the language to use to get your attention and to make you feel that desire to want to have those things, because we know these are all the women we work with. You have a message you want to share. You want to get on those stages, whether it's for keynotes or TEDx, or you want to grow your business through lead generation presentations, and you're not sure maybe how to get started. Maybe you've done some speaking, but not a lot, or you've reached a plateau in your speaking. So you've been doing quite a bit, but you're not getting to the bigger stages, or maybe you're not getting paid as much as you would like. So these online advertisements are kind of reeling you in. But as they say, and as probably as our grandparents said, there's no such thing as a shortcut.
Yeah.
And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And these are truisms that will outlast social media as
Yeah.
well. So we wanted to address some of these things with you today. So now, Diane, I know that you do consult calls also with prospective clients,
Mhm.
and you work with a lot of our clients in our Thought Leader Academy. So what are some of the kind of little like red flags that have been going off for you in the past few months?
Well, probably the biggest one is the promise of, some provider, some consultant saying, "Oh, I can guarantee you'll get X number of talks per month," or "I can guarantee that you'll be able to charge X amount of dollars for your speaking," or "I can guarantee you a spot on a TEDx stage." So the guarantee of something related to their speaking journey that they, of course, they want. We all want that, right? But that comes up over and over again, this guarantee. And frankly, I'm not immune to it. I see it in the algorithm as well. So I think that's the biggest thing, is the promise of these things. And we want those things. So we naturally, we're curious, like, oh, maybe they could help me do that and achieve that very quickly.
Yes, the guarantees. And so
Mhm.
for those of you listening, so we're going to tell you some of the things, the red flags that we're seeing and hearing, and then we're going to share with you the better way to go about doing the things that you want to do to actually achieve the goals that you have and get the results that you want, but do it in a way that's actually going to work. Okay, so the first red flag is definitely these guarantees of
Mhm.
very specific things, like a certain number of speaking engagements or a certain amount of dollars or even a TEDx spot. And we're going to definitely talk more about TEDx here in just a little bit. And so that's the first red flag. The second red flag that I have noticed, Diane, is that speaker bureaus are
Mm.
also I think they're finding people on LinkedIn, because I think if you have a premium account on LinkedIn, if you pay for that, you get access to people's email addresses. That's why we get kind of this spam email in our inboxes from companies who kind of, they're wanting to act like they know us because I saw you on LinkedIn, and then they're pitching you something. Well, speaker bureaus are doing that as well, where they're contacting probably people who seem like they're speakers based on their LinkedIn profile, and then either promising them a certain number of spots or somehow wanting to start a conversation with them.
Absolutely. And again, you and I are not immune to this because we are also, I get emails, I probably get one email a week of somebody saying, oh, I see that you're a speaker. I could, get you this or that or this visibility. And actually, some speaker bureaus were reaching out as well, sort of pitching themselves. Obviously, they're doing it to make themselves money, but they're pitching it as they can promise me something. So we see it all the time, and we get asked these questions by our clients, like, should I sign up with a speakers bureau? Should I sign up with this consultant?
Yes, and they forward the emails to us. And so
Yes.
glad that they do. And
Mhm.
if you're listening and you've worked with us either currently or anytime ever, and if you get an email and you're kind of wondering, I'm not so sure about this. It
Mhm.
seems maybe like it's interesting, but I'm not sure if it's legitimate. Send it to us. We are
Yes.
happy
Yes.
to look at it. Diane is like the research queen. She
Yes.
will search it and she will figure out exactly what is going on
Oh,
with
yes. Yes. Yeah, because sometimes it is a scam. Like, there are legitimate speaker bureaus. There are legitimate organizations and people who their job is to find you speaking engagement. Like, there's legitimate companies that do that, but there are also scams, right? Just like in any industry, there are scams. So it's important to be able to suss those things out so you don't get taken advantage of, right?
Yes. And again, we're going to tell you how to make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of in just a little bit. So
Yeah.
the first red flag was the big guarantees, the big promises. The second
Mhm.
red flag are these speaker bureaus. So people, especially you're getting emails in your inbox from either individuals or speaker
Mhm.
bureaus who are kind of wanting to kind of engage with you and get you to reply back to them. The third thing, and I have heard this personally from clients of ours where they have been contacted by a quote unquote coach. And I'm putting that
Mhm.
word coach in quotation marks because I don't
Mhm.
really think that they are a coach, at least not in a way of integrity, who are reaching out to clients. Again, they're finding their profiles and thinking that they're a good fit and saying, I can promise you a spot on a TEDx stage if only you pay $10,000 for coaching, like for coaching.
Mhm.
Now, I did an episode just 2 weeks ago with the organizers for TEDx Orlando. I'm on the TEDx Orlando speaker curation and coaching team. So I invited them on because they too are seeing this. They have been organizing TEDx events for 10 years. And we
Mhm.
talked about this towards the end of that episode. And here's the policy from TED, the parent organization regarding TEDx. No one is allowed to pay for a spot on a TEDx stage. And certainly TEDx organizers are not allowed, it is against the rules to accept any type of payment to get a speaker on the stage. And so if you're seeing that, just know that that instantly is a red flag. Now, can you work with a coach and can they help you to develop your TEDx idea and your TEDx application to make it as strong as possible to increase your likelihood that you will get selected for a TEDx event? Yes, we do that. We provide that service to help you with your TEDx
Mhm.
application and to shape your idea. But we would never guarantee that we're going to get you on a specific stage or on a stage in a certain amount of time because that's not up to us. We're
Right.
not the organizers. We can't make those decisions on behalf
Mhm.
of those events.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's, TED is sort of lifted up as the pinnacle of speaking, right? So, like, who doesn't, if you're really legitimately, on your speaker journey, most people at some point want to do a TED talk. And so when you hear that, you're like, oh, because it feels a little mysterious as to how you get a TED talk. How do you actually land a TED talk and get on that stage? And maybe some people have applied before and not gotten accepted. So they're like, oh, maybe this is the thing that could actually help me. So it feels really desirable to want to do that. And that's really unfortunate.
It is because it is competitive. TEDx
Mhm.
talks, like you said, Diane, have a lot of great credibility behind them. A lot of speakers want to be able to say that they are a TEDx speaker, and so
Mhm.
and it is for TEDx Orlando, we got over 600 speaker
Yes.
submissions last fall, an incredible amount. So it is competitive.
Mhm.
Some events are more competitive than others, but you absolutely can get selected
Mhm.
at a TEDx event. You may get selected the first time. The first one you submit, it could take 5 times. It could take 10 times. You just have to you have to find the right event for you, and no one can or should promise you any type of guarantee
No.
related to that. And so also for me, like it is, I would rather put in the work and know that I did it in an
Mhm.
honest, legitimate way versus finding some type of shortcut, because then to me it's not going to feel as much of an accomplishment or as meaningful when I actually
I
do get the opportunity.
And I feel like it might not feel as aligned because if they're promising you getting you on specific stages, is it exactly the talk you want? It might not be. And so you're going to pay all this money to get on something maybe slightly off what you would actually want. Then you feel sort of a little bit ripped off, but also lied to. And it just feels like not aligned with what you actually want to be doing.
Yes, because there is a lot of time and effort that goes into not only creating a great talk, but then preparing for it and then showing up and delivering it. And if you have some company who is just booking you for speaking gigs, and it could be an audience of 10 people at
Mhm.
some little small group. Now, that audience of 10 people could be excellent for
Mhm.
you if they're your ideal clients, or if it's a well-paid speaking engagement. It's not necessarily the size of the audience, but a lot of these quote unquote, we can guarantee you'll get X number of talks per month. What is the quality of
Right.
those speaking engagements? Do you have to travel? Who is covering your travel? What is the ROI that you're getting? If you just want to say that you've spoken at 20 different places, then I would question why. What is the value that you're getting out of that versus finding the right speaking engagements? For example, Diane and I, we only speak about a handful of times a year
Mhm. Mhm.
because to fit it into our schedule, but we select the speaking engagements that are the best fit for us, where we know we're going to have the best connection with that particular audience and it's going to serve the goals that we
Mhm.
have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because think about the amount of time that you put into creating a talk and whether you work with someone like us, helping you create the talk or you create it on your own, the amount of time you put into that, then the practicing, and if you do have to travel and like all the effort you put into that for it to not be the right audience, what is the point of that?
And if you're going into a completely cold audience, so maybe
Yes.
they barely know you, who knows how this mysterious company
Mhm.
got you the speaking engagement in the first place, you probably are not going to, it's not going to be the same energy. It's not going to be the same feeling as you making connections in your local community, showing up
Absolutely.
at groups and events, getting to know the people there, the people who run the events, who run the group, joining, becoming a member, getting involved with them, and then speaking them. All of a sudden, your confidence is going to go up. You're going to have
Mhm.
such a better connection with the people in the audience when you do get an opportunity to speak there. And it's going to feel so much better than you just showing up at random places to deliver a talk.
Yes, yes.
All right. So we talked about these different red flags regarding, especially regarding guarantees, like we can get you X number of speaking gigs or guarantee you a TEDx spot and so on. The other thing that I see with speaking coaching companies is that they put on a lot of high pressure sales tactics to get you to sign up with them. And they are also making big promises. And there are other great speaking coaching companies out there. Certainly Speaking Your Brand is not the only one. Like there are
Mhm.
other legitimate ones out there who do great work, but there are also ones where we talk to clients who've come to us after having unfortunately spent money with some of these other places and they haven't gotten what they thought they were
Mhm.
going to get. So here's the things to look out for. Is there pricing on that company's or that coach's website? Here at Speaking Your Brand, we have pricing on all of our programs. All of our workshops are right there on the website, transparent pricing. You don't
Mhm.
have to book a call with us or go through a whole dog and pony show to figure out how much it costs. We don't do high pressure sales tactics. We have our Thought Leader Academy groups. We run several cohorts a year. We tell you the start dates, and you can decide what is the best fit for you. If someone is telling you, oh, just put it on your credit card, you'll make the money back. Don't worry. That is right there. I'm like, no, no, no. You don't get to tell me how to spend my money. Like
Absolutely.
I get to decide on that. So if you're feeling pressured to make a decision right then and there, then I would pause and question and do some other research.
Mhm.
Find some other companies, even compare speaking your brand with other coaches
Mhm.
that are out there. Have consultation calls with several so you can get a good sense of their personalities, their approaches, their methodologies, the types of clients they work with, and what realistically you're going to get from them. The other thing to ask other coaching organizations and coaches, if you're considering working with them, is how much of the work is on you versus
Mhm.
how much of the work are they doing with you? So here's what we have seen, especially in the past year or so, is that clients come to us, and again, they have invested in another coach, and they say, I've done calls with this coach, but the coach just kind of talks to me on the calls. And then I'm still left to put all my
Mhm.
talk together and put everything together. And then I'm not really getting the direction and the feedback, and I still don't have a talk. And sometimes it's been months that have gone by that they have been quote unquote coaching with this person. So here at Speaking Your Brand, we take a very different approach. This is why every single person who works with us in the Thought Leader Academy gets a one-on-one 3-hour VIP day session where we, either Diane or myself, whoever your coach ends up being, we're doing the heavy lifting. We do the work, because if you could take everything that's in your head and put it
Mhm.
together yourself, you wouldn't need us, but you
Right,
need us
exactly.
because it's almost impossible to do this in your own head. We can't even do this in our own head. This is why we have our signature talk canvas framework that we've used with hundreds of clients.
Mhm.
We ask you the questions we know we need to ask you to get the information to put your talk together from beginning to end. We are doing that work. It's a collaborative process. We're doing that work together, but we're not leaving you to do that on your own. So you are guaranteed to have a talk by the time you're done working with us, like hands down. There is no if, ands, or buts about that. And so, Diane, I know that that has been such a game changer for the clients that you, I know, have done the VIP days with.
Oh, absolutely. Once that talk is created, they come to the VIP day with this, most of them, all these ideas, right? And well, I don't know how to organize them or where to start, or, I'm not really sure what my talk is going to be, but I've got this, and this. In 3 hours, and I even warn them, this is going to seem very messy in the middle. Don't panic, because I guarantee it will come together. And it does, because that is an intense 3 hours that they're doing all the talking, but I'm doing on the other end the work on the poster board using the signature talk framework, looking for the stories, looking for the main messages, looking for places to add in audience questions, or make sure that we're using third party credibility or whatever it is. But I'm pulling together the pieces of this talk in a way that I know an audience will connect with their message. And I think that's probably the biggest difference between maybe other sort of messaging they're getting from other providers of the promises of, oh, I can get you these talks, is that those programs probably have a lot of people come through them. And so they're not doing the individual work, which is a different approach. But because you don't get that talk completed and it's up to you then to do the talk, we're struggling in our own heads with, well, okay, now how do I do that though? How do I put my thoughts together? How do I deliver it to the audience? What does it look like? Do I add in any humor? How do I do that? So they don't end up with something concrete, and then they kind of just leave with more questions, right? And then another thing that I think differentiates us is that even once we do the VIP day, they finish the Thought Leader Academy, they have their talk, now they're out there delivering it. Let's say they have a question, they can reach out to us, because we are not, like a mass program for everyone and promising all these things. It's a very high touch, right? We maintain that relationship so that we can make sure that our clients get results from the talks they do get by building their visibility themselves and having a completed talk.
Yeah, that's a great point, Diane, because we're not a mass
No,
marketing machine. So you're
no,
not going to see a bunch of online advertising from us,
no.
because you can either decide to be a coaching company or you can decide to be a marketing company. And
Yes,
we are a coaching company first
right.
and foremost, right? Like the podcast and our clients are our best marketing
Yeah.
engine that we have. And so like our Thought Leader Academy, we only have 8 women in it per cohort, 8. That is it, because we want everyone to not only have that one-on-one VIP day as part of that, but to get that personalized feedback during the weekly group calls as well, so that they get feedback from us, but they get feedback from each other. They're practicing their talk, they're learning the business of speaking. So how do they get those speaking engagements? How do they put themselves out there? How do they get those inbound speaking invitations? How do they do outreach? So they're learning all of that through us, but they have the talk
Yes.
by the halfway point of the program. They have their
Yeah.
talk completed. And I think that's a huge differentiator. So
You
as
know,
you are,
just let
yeah, go
me
ahead,
add one
Diane.
more thing.
Yeah.
I think another differentiator that goes along with that is that they get us, you and me. We aren't farming it out to maybe, if we have 15 coaches on staff that do the work, right? It's us. We're the ones. So whoever they're seeing, hearing from on this podcast right now, we are who is going to work with you. One of us. So you're getting, and then during the Thought Leader Academy, you get us both. You get feedback from both of us. So you are getting exactly what you are paying for, which is our knowledge in helping you create the talk.
Correct. There's no like bait and switch, like, oh, you're
No.
talking to, so and so on a consult call, and then they give you to some coach who maybe
Right.
doesn't have that much of not much experience, doesn't
Mhm.
really have a framework to use, a process to use to get you the talk that is going to really set you apart, but also a talk that is yours.
Right.
So I think this is also like sometimes people feel like, oh, can I just hire like a ghost writer or like a speech
Mm.
writer to write my talk? Now, if you're an elected official, running for office, Barack Obama had his team of
Right.
speechwriters, like, go for it, right? Yes, get your speechwriters. You're probably busy doing other things. That is totally different. You should still think Barack Obama still did by longhand on legal pads his speeches.
His voice was in there for sure.
Yeah, and he had the people though he trained and learned his
Yeah.
voice. So like
Yeah.
that is okay. So and that is why it's so important for it to be your voice. So when Diane and I are doing the post-it notes here, I have a board here on my table. When we're doing that, we're not putting the words on the post-it notes in our voice. We're putting it in your voice as you're answering the questions and sharing things with us. So that way it's your content in the
Mhm.
way you would say it, so that it is yours and so that you feel so much more confident and clear delivering it. It's not some like thing that someone else has said that you have to figure out how to say yourself. And this is also the danger of using ChatGPT and
Mhm.
AI chatbots to try to write an outline or write your talk, because even if you think you've trained it on your voice, it has a way of writing stuff that sounds like AI, and it's not
Yes.
going to come across the way that you think it will.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. So don't use AI is great for some things. Writing your talk is not it.
Nope.
Yes, I put it through its paces. It does not do a good job.
Mm-mm.
All right. So when you are looking at different coaches or coaching organizations, again, make sure that there is pricing transparency, that you understand the process, how many people are in the group, how do the calls work? Are you getting one-on-one time? What is the work that they're doing on their end versus the work that you're doing on your end? What are the deliverables that you're going to get at the end of the time working? So who's going to be your coach? So do all that due diligence when you're talking with them. So then let's get back to this idea of speaker bureaus, because I know it's tempting to be able to basically take that work of finding speaking engagements and give it
Mhm.
to someone else. I get it. Like it is one of those things where it always seems to fall down the priority list. Now, speaker bureaus, the legitimate ones, they tend to represent speakers who are well paid.
Mhm.
Why? Because that's how the speaker bureaus make their money. When they have a Brene Brown or a Simon Sinek or someone like that who that they represent. And by the way, there's lots of speaker bureaus out there who claim that they're representing Brene Brown. They are not. She
Mm.
has her own speaker agent. But that speaker agent, just like an agent in Hollywood, makes money when Brene Brown gets booked to talk. She gets paid a lot, probably over 100 grand. I don't know exactly what she gets paid, but I know it's a lot. So of course, for that speaker agent, it's worth it for them to do the legwork to get her speaking gigs because they're going to get their commission from it. If you are like me and Diane, or like most of us, we're not charging 100 grand, maybe one day, but even if we're charging 7,500, 10 grand or so. For a speaker bureau to make any money off of us, they would either have to take a good portion of that
Mhm.
speaker fee, which I don't necessarily want to give them, right? Like half of that
Right.
speaker fee, because I need that for all the
Yeah.
time that it takes me. And so then it's like, well, then why are they doing the work if they're not
Right.
getting well compensated for it? So when you get approached by speaker bureaus and either they're saying that they can get you speaking gigs, find out exactly what their fee structure is. How are
Mhm.
they making money? Because they trust me, they need to make money. And how are you getting paid? How is that being split up? If it's someone, a speaker bureau or an individual ever asks you for money upfront to say, oh, just pay us 1,000 or 5,000 or whatever it is, because we need to get you on our website or we need to do these marketing materials for you, the answer is no. And especially if they ever say, send us money via Venmo or
Oh my God.
Zelle or PayPal or wire transfer, the answer is always no. Flat out.
Mhm.
There is no exception to that, because we don't want you to be taken advantage of.
No.
And again, if you ever have any questions, whether you've been a client or not, even if you're just a podcast listener, send us the email and we're happy. And like I said, we'll put Diana on it and she'll figure
Yes.
it out.
I could find anything online.
Now, if you do want to get help in finding speaking engagements, there is help that you can do. So the first thing is that you can hire a virtual assistant
Mhm.
and train them on the types of speaking engagements you're looking for, your ideal audience, events within a certain geographic area, maybe events with certain, industries, or whether they're
Mhm.
paid or unpaid. Hire a VA to do that for you, and they can do the research using AI to find speaking opportunities and submit speaking proposals. So they can do a lot of that work, and it's relatively inexpensive. You can find
Mhm.
a good VA anywhere from $15 an hour to $30 an hour.
Mhm.
Have them do a couple hours a week, and there you go. You've delegated that task to someone else. Now, there are PR agencies who are legitimate and they can help you to get speaking engagements. PR agencies have been around for a long time. They
Mhm.
are used a lot of times by CEOs and authors to get placement in media. So to get mentioned in well-known, magazines or newspapers. You know, um, Back in the day, it was probably, what do they call it? Press releases? Like
Yes.
they
Do they
would
even do
fax
those
press
anymore?
releases.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
no, they don't.
know.
No faxing and no press releases. They don't
No.
do that. But they can still help you. But what it is that they do is they use their relationships. They're not spamming a bunch of inboxes with your information. They're using their relationships that they've built over their career and in their industry. Because they're using their relationships, it costs a pretty good amount of
Mhm.
money to hire a PR agency, usually at least $5,000 a month and higher. And most of them will require you to stay with them for at least
Mhm.
6 months, sometimes 3 months, but usually 6 months. Why? Because it takes that long. They need to go to their connections and relationships. They need to talk about you. They need to figure out what is the best media placement for you or what
Mhm.
are the best speaking engagements for you. There are no easy shortcuts for this stuff.
Yes, and honestly, even if you're gonna pay a PR agency, I feel like your results are going to be better if you already have some of your own visibility, your own network, your own brand that you've built. People are already there's already something about you, a book or something that's out there. Otherwise, if they're just starting from square one, that's a lot of money to spend for them, and there it's going to take that much longer. So, I always say if you're going to do something paid first, build some of that stuff first, and then reach out to a PR agency once you've got something.
That's true, because probably the PR agency is not going to take you on as a client if you
No.
don't have a platform or visibility already established, or they're going to send you to
Right.
their marketing arm first
Right.
to pay for the marketing agency to build that for you, which
That's a
again is
great point.
doable. But find a VA who specializes in marketing, the type of platform visibility you're looking for, and have the VA help you with that.
Yes, and this kind of connects to that idea of like building your personal brand. And I hate to overuse that term, but there is no shortcut to building a personal brand, right? It's just it's ongoing and it's a long-term play, but it's going to serve you here. So let's say at some point you do want to hire a PR agency, but we need to have a personal brand because they need to know who you are and how to market you, position you to others that they're promoting you to. Otherwise, it won't work. So there's no way to skip that step.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of where we are with this influencer economy. It's the
Mhm.
influencer economy has been around for 10 plus years now, but it
Yeah.
really got going during COVID, and
Yep.
now because of algorithmic social media, it's on steroids.
Yeah.
And all these influencers are telling people, "Oh, they're basically selling shortcuts. If you just
Yes.
do these three things, you too will have this success, and it only will take you a week or only take you a month to do it." And here's the thing, influencers are selling you on this idea because they're selling you to make money for themselves.
Yes. Yes.
Their content makes them money. They know, especially the influencers you're most likely seeing on Instagram and TikTok,
Mhm.
they're the ones that they have figured out how the algorithm works and how it rewards them. So they know the headlines to use, they know the types of video, even so much they know the background to use. At some point, the
Yes.
algorithms will really like people sitting in their car face to camera talking. And then that will
Yes.
get overdone. And then it will switch to a kitchen view. And then that will get overdone. And then it will be switched to someone walking on a street with trees behind them, like super casual. I'm just walking
Mhm.
on the street telling you. So they know how to game the algorithm. Now, I'm not saying they don't have useful content. I'm sure some of them do. But just beware that when they're promising you big things, that there are some secrets or there are some shortcuts. That's not the way the world works. Diane and I have been doing this for many, many, many years. We have well established careers and speaking and visibility and personal brands because we've put in the work. And I will say this, and I now Diane, you'll love to chime in because we get on our soapboxes
Yes.
about this. I know it feels like, oh, but I don't want it to take so long. But here's the thing, it will take a year or two.
Yep.
That is reality. It takes
Yes.
a year or two for enough people to know what you do, what you talk about, if you're doing if in the context of speaking, and to get on the speaking circuit so that other people know that you're a speaker on X topic and then that you could be a good fit for them. Just think about it. It has been over 6 years since the pandemic started.
Yes.
So a year or two, it's going to come. It's going to be here before you know it. So get started now with some of the things we're going to share with you versus trying to find these secrets and shortcuts where you're wasting time and energy.
Yes, a year or 2 is going to pass whether you take the steps or not. But if you try to take the shortcut, there's a lot of potential downfalls to that, which is waste of money, possibly a waste of that time that you could have used building your own brand, right? To build the foundation. Um, Misaligned speaking engagements. It's all of these things where if you just build the base, then at some point, maybe the PR firm is an option, but you've at least built the base.
Yes, absolutely. And, I think that what I love, Diane, about our Speaking Your Brand community is that we have clients we worked with 10 years ago who
Yes.
still come to our alumni
Yep.
calls that we hold a couple of times a year, who will still come back and maybe enroll in our speaking
Mhm.
summer school that we hold that we
Or
offer
come
for
to a
alumni,
workshop.
or will come to one of our in-person workshops
Yes.
because they worked with us online in the
Mhm.
Thought Leader Academy and then want to do something in person with
Yep.
us. So that's how you know that an
Yes.
organization's mission and the way that they do things is something that is more to them than just
Mhm.
transactions. For us, it's really about the relationships that we're building with the women, but the women build with each other. When I see women who've been at retreats together or been in the Thought Leader Academy together, and then they go on each other's podcast, they
Mhm.
fly to conferences where one of them is speaking to support
Yes.
the other one. That's really what I love to see.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because what we're sort of practicing what we preach, right? We have literally spent the time building that because we get solicitations like we could get you this many clients. And okay, are they going to be aligned? Maybe not.
Right.
Are they going to be people that come back again and again? Maybe not. But what we're building does achieve that. So we're saying do the same thing, but for your speaking.
Yes, right. Because our mission is to amplify women's voices so that they have the clarity and the confidence to get out there, share their message with their audience, because it's a domino effect. The more that we can work with the women that we work with, then they're going to impact their audiences. And then I feel like at some point through all of those different like branches, we have impacted hundreds of thousands of people over
Yes,
the years.
absolutely.
And so we held a workshop recently, an online workshop called Become Bookable. And it was great. We had about 20 some participants there. And so we taught them, and they worked on these 3 R's of becoming bookable, which is relevance. So making sure that you have a message and a topic that event organizers want. So relevant in the sense that it's timeless thought leadership, but also has a little bit of trend. So whatever's kind of on trend right now, you want to have a little bit of that on that, not too much, but just enough. That was the first R, relevance. The second R was reach. So how can you make sure that the AI chatbots find you and can recommend you as a speaker, because that is happening. We also talked about LinkedIn and potentially even launching your own podcast to extend your reach for not only the AI chatbots, but for relationship building. And then finally, that third R is relationships, and really about this idea of using your network strategically to nurture those relationships and those connections, because that's where you're going to find your best speaking opportunities, business opportunities, board opportunities, career opportunities, and so on. Now, that Become Bookable workshop, the live version has passed because we held that on April 15th, but I am offering the recording and the materials if you would like that, because the workshop was so value packed. I think the questions that the women asked on it were so valuable that you can get the recording and the materials and go through it. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us after you watch it and do some of the homework assignments. And if you have any questions, we're happy to take a look at that. So you can check that out at speakingyourbrand.com/bookable. Again, that's speakingyourbrand.com/bookable. So you get instant access to the 3-hour Zoom recording, plus the workbook, the slides, the prompts, and the outreach templates that we provided. All right, Diane. So I know we covered a lot. And so I think the biggest takeaways, and I would love for you to add to these, is number one, if it's too good to be true, it most likely is.
Agree.
Number two, there are no shortcuts to achieving the goals that you want. I've been working on my book for too many years to count. Now, I know I could take my podcast transcripts. I have hundreds of them, feed them to ChatGPT, and have it churn out a book for me. I can't do that because it's not meaningful to me to take that shortcut. That's not going to give me a sense of accomplishment. I want to write the book because I want to develop my own ideas. I want to build that muscle of writing like I've built the muscle of speaking. So for those of you listening, think about, for your own speaking that you want to do, what is that muscle that you want to build? You want to be able to craft your ideas. You want to be able to have that connection, that energetic connection with the audience. You want to have that conversation with the audience. You want to build your platform and build your visibility. And by doing it yourself, but with assistance, like with coaching, say with us, we're happy to do that with you. It's going to feel so much more meaningful. Okay. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There are no shortcuts, and just be aware of any scams or anything that someone is asking you to do that feels a little bit off. Trust your gut on that.
Yes. Trust your gut for sure. 100%.
Oh, and one more thing, Diane, I wanted to mention that I just saw in my notes is that we also get a lot of questions about speaker reels. So like sizzle reels.
Yes.
And so I think this is also probably going around on online advertising. Now, I don't use social media, so I don't really see this stuff, but I think it's going around because we are getting a lot of questions like, oh, I need to put together a speaker reel, but I don't really have good video footage. Should I just pay to get one done anyways? And I would say no. Have one created when you have good video footage. So once you've done a couple of events and the venues look good and it's pretty high quality video, then go ahead and hire a videographer or an editor to put together a reel for you. But that being said, you do not need a speaker reel to get speaking engagements or even to get paid speaking engagements. Diane and I didn't have speaker reels for years. I mean, it wasn't really much of a thing back then. And so but at some point we hired a videography company to take video of us at some good
Mhm.
speaking engagements, and then they created reels for us. But honestly, I don't think having a reel has made a difference one way or another for us getting any speaking engagements that we've gotten, whether it's paid or not. And instead, just set up your phone on a tripod at your next speaking engagement, get some video of that, put some clips on your website, on your speaker page. I mean, you want the video to look decent enough. Like, you don't want it to be totally dark or grainy or like a shot of the wall, like, set it
Right,
up
right,
so that it looks decent. But that's it. Like, event organizers just want to see, can you talk? Like,
right.
share podcast interviews on your speaker page that you've been
Yes.
a guest on. Like, do that kind of stuff. Don't worry about investing a lot of money in a speaker reel until you have that good enough footage where it makes sense to do so.
I totally agree with that. And I think that's one thing that you might see in different companies trying to sell you their services and promising you the moon, sun, and stars, right? Is we're going to give you the speaker reel and then the one sheet and this and this and this. Great. Do you need all that stuff to speak? No. You know what you need? You need to talk and you need to put yourself out there. That's what you need,
Yes,
right?
right.
That's all you need. So we're going to help you with the talk, and then we're going to encourage you to put yourself out there, right? So that's really all you need. We look at really like most successful anybody's in anything. They really just had the desire and then they put themselves out there, their business, their product, whatever, minimum viable product. You will get better. You eventually will have a speaker reel. You might even eventually have a speaker agent. That'd be great, right? But you don't need all that stuff in the beginning. There's a company that will sell you anything that you want to buy for whatever in your business, personally, your life, anywhere. If you're willing to pay for it, they will sell it to you. But you don't really need all those things. So the most important thing is to just get started and have help creating a talk that's actually going to land with the audience so that when you do go out and speak, the organizer sees you can deliver. That is what matters. And that's going to get you more speaking engagements than anything anybody can promise you.
Yes, because all of that stuff, the reel, the one sheet, that's all busy work.
Yes.
And it's busy work
100%.
that is allowing you to procrastinate
Yes.
on doing the harder thing,
Yep. The
which
fear
is
of
putting
getting out there
yourself
and
out
speaking.
there.
Yep. Mhm.
Yes. So just if you feel a little called out right now, those of you listening, I get it. I do plenty of
Sometimes
busy
we
work
need
too,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Diane does too. We
Yes.
get
We
it.
all
Like,
do it. We all do it.
we all do it. And that's why we're
Yeah.
here. That's why we're coaches, because we
Yes.
see it and we understand it. And so, but that's why we encourage you. And when we work with you, and especially in the Thought Leader Academy, where maybe the women, some of the women in there do not have a certain speaking engagement on the calendar yet. So sometimes clients come to us and they say, I have this really important speaking engagement that's in
Right.
3 months, help me create a talk for that. Sometimes it's just a desire
Mhm.
that someone has, and they know they've been called to do this. And so we will, at the very beginning, encourage them and give them some strategies and some outreach ideas to get that speaking engagement on the calendar. There's
Mhm.
nothing like a date to
Oh, yes.
get you to do the thing that you're going to have to do.
Absolutely. I've been known to just at the beginning of a VIP day go, okay, first thing we're going to do is here, I'm going to give you some ideas for who you can reach out to, where you can position and go. I want you to connect with 3 possible speaking places. That's my first thing, is giving them homework, because unless you get yourself out there, you will procrastinate. Let me make the talk better. Let me get my speaker page. Let me get my one sheet. Let me get my speaker reel. Let me build a whole website around this. Wait, the website's not perfect. Wait, we all do that, but it's because we're just nervous about getting out there and doing the thing because it isn't quote unquote perfect yet. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be, because imperfect and delivered is way better than waiting and just never getting it out there.
And that's one of the reasons why we do our live show with our Thought Leader Academy clients at the end of the program. And so you'll hear them
Yes.
coming up here on the podcast in the
Yes.
next couple of episodes. So as they get to the second half of the Thought Leader Academy, they have some practice delivery opportunities where they practice a 10-minute version of the talk that they created with us during the VIP day. So not only are they, it's becoming real for them with us and the supportive small group, but then we schedule these live shows that are on our LinkedIn and also on our YouTube
Mhm.
channel where they actually deliver it. So they debut their talk. So it's concrete, it's real.
Yes.
Again, it's not left kind of like half done or like them struggling to figure out how, still trying to figure out how to put a talk together.
Also, I think it gives them that sense of accomplishment of if they're thinking, "Oh, I'm not really a speaker, but I have this." No, you are. You just delivered your talk, right? So they're on the LinkedIn Live. They've said it out loud in a platform like that. Turns out you are a speaker. Look at that, right? So now you can say, "Yes, I am a speaker." That little bit extra confidence then will push you even more to go out and to start delivering that talk.
And they always do an amazing job. I think they surprise
Always.
themselves because we
Yes.
prepared them to that point. Of course, they're a little nervous about it.
Yeah,
Anyone would
that's
be, but we
okay.
prepared them and we know they're ready. And I
Yes.
think it then surprised, oh, like I actually can do this.
Yes, I'll be honest with you. When I see a speaker, I don't mind seeing if they come across as a little bit nervous, I'm okay with that. Because to me, that's actually feels more genuine than someone who's super duper 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 polished, which sometimes can feel overly practiced and like memorized and not necessarily engaging. But if someone maybe flubs up their words, like it just feels so relatable, right? So, gosh, go out there and if you mess up, that's okay. I feel like everyone relates to that, but at least you're out there. You're 90% ahead of everybody else.
Yes. All right. So for those of you listening, go out to your local community, to your industry associations and groups, build relationships, get to know people, get that speaking engagement on the calendar.
Yes.
If you would like to talk about working with us here at Speaking Your Brand, I invite you to schedule a consultation call with us. Just go to speakingyourbrand.com/contact and you can schedule a call with myself or with Diane right there. And again, all of our pricing for our programs, including our Thought Leader Academy, is on the website as well. So you're welcome to check all of that out. And don't forget about that Become Bookable workshop. If you want to get instant access to the recording and all the materials, just go to speakingyourbrand.com/bookable to do that as well. All right, Diane. Well, thank you for an enlightening conversation today.
Of course. My pleasure.
Until next time, thanks for listening.